What's going on, Sunbelt fans? Back into some basketball action tonight, Thursday, January 5th. First game, 6:30 p.m. Eastern start on ESPN+. We have Coastal Carolina traveling up to Boone to face Appalachian State, who is a 4.5-point favorite. I think the matchup to watch in this one is Brown versus Boykin. Point guards for both teams, both averaging exactly 16 points per game at this point. This one's going to come down to those two guys, I think, and who's going to be shooting better. Boykin right now is the better three-point shooter, so Brown is getting a little bit more from closer range, but we'll see what happens. I'm thinking App State's skid has to stop at some point. They're returning home. The odds makers have them favored for a reason. I'm going to take App State 77, Coastal 71. 7 p.m. tip, ESPN+. We've got Texas State traveling to Harrisonburg to face James Madison, who is an 11.5-point favorite. I think this one's pretty simple. You've got Texas State and James Madison, one of the best versus one of the worst as of right now. The Bobcats haven't scored more than 53 points in conference play, and James Madison is the top scoring offense in the entire country. That's not the Sun Belt. That's not mid-majors. That's every single team in the entire country. James Madison is number one in points scored per game and percentage margin of victory. So I don't see this one being Texas State's favor. I think James Madison is a better team. Texas State has a really good player in Mason Harrell. But on the opposite side for James Madison, the last 7 games, they haven't had the same high-scoring player once. It was 7 different guys in the last 7 different games. So they have all kinds of ways in which to hit you and beat you in this one. I don't see any reason to slow that down. James Madison, 67. Texas State, 52. Another 7 p.m. tip, ESPN+ as well. ODU travels down to Alabama to play Troy. Troy is a 5-point favorite. Both opened with conference losses, but then rebounded with conference wins. Troy played 2 on the road to start, but now they're returning home. I think that's going to favor them a little bit, but ODU plays everybody close. The last 4 games for ODU have been decided by a combined total of 9 points. Just 9 points in 4 games is the difference. 2 of those games were 1-point games. So I do think Troy is going to be a little stronger because they're at home, but I don't think they're covering this one. I've got Troy 62, ODU 59. Another 7 p.m. tip, ESPN+. We've got Marshall traveling down to Statesboro, Georgia to face Georgia Southern. Marshall, a 6.5-point favorite. Can Georgia Southern continue the hot start? They started off 2-0. I would not have predicted that going into the conference play, but hey, great start for them, 2-0. Can Marshall rebound from the James Madison loss? So those are the 2 questions that I've got. The Herd right now are the top scoring offense in the Sun Belt. Now, that's not, again, we just talked about James Madison being number 1 in the country. In the Sun Belt itself, the Herd are the number 1 scoring offense at this point in time, mainly because of Kinsey and Taylor being so hot shooting-wise. So you've got to ask if Savrasov and Curry can slow them down on the opposite side. I don't see it happening. I think the bigs on Marshall's side are a little bit better. I think they maybe pull away down the stretch and help them get the W. So I'm taking Marshall in this one, 81, Georgia Southern 71. 7:30 p.m. tip, ESPN+, my game of the night, very underrated game because it's vastly important to the conference look here and some teams that have not gotten off to the start they wanted to or a team that's been off to a hot start. We've got Georgia State traveling down to Monroe to face the Warhawks. Georgia State's actually the 3-point favorite on the road here in this one. So my question that I'm looking at in this one, can Odom and Hudson play a better game than Locor and Buffalo? I think the hot start continues for ULM, to be totally honest. I think Locor and Buffalo are just heating up at the right time. I don't think this streak's going to last for them forever. But Georgia State doesn't have any hallmark wins to really hang their hat on. I think ULM's going to get this one at home in a close one. ULM 67, Georgia State 65. 8 p.m. tip, ESPN+. We've got Southern Miss traveling down to Lafayette, Louisiana to play the Ragin' Cajuns. They are favored by 2.5 points. Southern Miss, though, 4-1 in their last 5. Meanwhile, Louisiana 0-3 in their last 3 games. So we know Brown is the focal point for that Cajun offense. If he goes for about 26 or more points, I think they stand a great chance to win. But honestly, I just don't know if he's going to do enough when you've got Hasse and Pinckney on the other side that are going to be trying to shut him down all night. But Brown, to me, far away right now, the best player in this conference if you look at all the statistics and if you just watch him play. So this one should be fun to watch too. It's probably the number 2 game of the night for me. But I am taking Southern Miss to continue their winning streak in the conference, 79, Raging Cajuns 73. Wrap up the night, 8 p.m. tip. ESPN Plus as well. We've got Arkansas State traveling down to South Alabama. South Alabama, an 8-point favorite. A little surprise for me to see the spread that large. El Sheik has gotten hot at the right time for Arkansas State. The Red Wolves there. You've got to ask if Samuel can slow him. If Samuel can slow him down. Samuel's great defensively, but he hasn't been putting up the offensive side of the game. He's going to need to improve that aspect if they want to win this game. They're also going to need a lot more from their bench. Their bench output the last 2 games has been below 10 points each time. And some of those guys have been really, really cold shooting off the bench. So that has to change in order for South Alabama to win this game. I don't see that happening just yet. I think Arkansas State right now may still be the better team. They're just the hotter team, I guess I should say. I don't know if the better team overall, but they're the hotter team coming into this one. I think they get the win on the road. Arkansas State 71, South Alabama 63. That's your preview for tonight's matchups. Hopefully everyone gets back on track after this back-to-work routine of the week and enjoy some basketball as we get back in it and see what happens here in conference play. Thanks for watching.